Good evening, and thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Brooke Buckner here with meteorologist Simone Thomas. And Simone, it is calm now, but you mentioned earlier we may see some severe weather later this week.
Yeah, but right now let's try to focus on the good day that we're going to have on Monday. We'll talk more about the severe weather coming up here in a moment, but tomorrow we're tracking mostly sunny to partly sunny skies. Now, we are getting pretty warm. We're actually going to get close to record high temperatures. The high tomorrow in the capital city looking to reach 89 in the afternoon. Across the state, we're going to see upper 80s, some lower 90s. Currently, the record high for Little Rock on April 28th is 90 degrees. So if we get above this forecast, we'll match that record. And of course, if we get into the lower 90s, we'll set a new record. But as Brooke just mentioned, we are tracking the risk for some severe storms and flash flooding. That's coming as early as Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be the day to watch out for severe weather. Tuesday through Thursday, we're watching out for heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding. So make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings and staying informed. We'll talk more about the week as a whole coming up in your 11-day outlook.
All right, thanks, Simone. Members of the community gathering this evening in downtown Little Rock to honor Pope Francis at the Cathedral of St. Andrew. Tonight, THV 11's Maya Ellison shows us the memorial and how Arkansans are remembering him.
He got into not real trouble, but trouble with, people looking after him because he would sneak out at night to buy pizzas for homeless people.
It's those stories that many remember about the late Pope Francis. The 266th Pope of the Catholic Church passed Monday after suffering a heart attack. Since then, worldwide commemoration has begun, even here in Little Rock.
Today is Divine Mercy Sunday. We're going to combine that with a memorial mass for Pope Francis.
Bishop Anthony Taylor is the bishop of the Diocese of Little Rock. Leading Sunday's service, he reflects on meeting the Pope a time before.
I met him in Argentina before he became Pope, and spent some time with him, and then, 15 minutes, and then had a limited visit with him.
Members of the community drawn to the Cathedral of St. Andrew for Sunday's special service, like Caleb and his mother.
He was known as the People's Pope, and he had a profound heart for social justice. So he'll be missed.
Elected in 2013, many knew Pope Francis for his messages of peace and unity worldwide.
Pope Francis has been a very eloquent voice for the people that are on the margins and people that are on the periphery of things and who apparently don't count, and they do count.
That message felt during Sunday's service. Bishop Taylor asperges holy water amongst the congregation, followed by songs of worship. With Pope Francis's picture at the front of the altar, a reminder of what he leaves behind.
Our concern is not just the Catholics in the diocese, but for everybody. And that concern for the welfare of everybody is really something that's characteristic of Pope Francis and should be characteristic of any one of us.
In Little Rock, Maya Ellison, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Maya. Yesterday's funeral mass in Rome's St. Mary Major Basilica brought the world together, and that includes leaders like President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The two part of a crowd of 250,000 mourning the loss of Francis in a service that emphasized his service to the poor and his desire for peace. Pope Francis is the first pope laid to rest outside the Vatican in more than a century. And now that Pope Francis has been laid to rest, you may be asking what's next. Tonight, Megan Bragg helps us verify the process of the conclave.
The process of picking the next pope is called conclave. This process must begin within 15 to 20 days after a pope dies or resigns. To learn more about this process, we went to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. The Dean of College of Cardinals will call the 135 cardinal electors to the Vatican. However, only cardinals under 80 years old are eligible to vote for a new pope. This process is called a conclave. Those cardinals will be locked away in the Vatican, cut off from the rest of the world as they take part in the conclave. The cardinals vote by secret ballot. The results are counted aloud and recorded by 3 cardinals designated as recorders. A candidate must receive 2/3 of the vote. If no one receives the necessary 2/3 of the vote, the ballots are burned into a stove near the chapel with a mixture of chemicals to produce black smoke. 4 rounds of voting are done every day until a new pope is chosen. Once a new pope is chosen, white smoke will emerge from the Sistine Chapel, letting the world know a decision has been made. Since 1900, all conclaves have made a decision on a new pope in less than 4 days. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Federal offices in central Arkansas are extending hours for anyone looking to grab their real ID with the deadline quickly approaching. Starting May 7th, anyone traveling by plane or entering a federal building will need the new ID or an acceptable alternative like a U.S. passport. The Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration says about 900,000 Arkansans have a real ID right now, but 2 million others still have a regular license. If you're one of those, there are a few must-have items you need to bring with you before you walk through the doors.
You're going to have your birth certificate or passport. You're going to have to prove your residency. That's a couple of utility bills in your name. And you have to have your social security card, and the only acceptable substitute is a DD-214 form for those in the military. If you don't have one of those, we just simply can't issue the real ID.
And if you're not sure whether you already have one, just check for a gold star in the upper right corner of your license. The DFA says they may extend hours again next weekend, but they want to remind you revenue offices are also open for normal hours during the week. To learn more, you can visit ar.gov/real ID.
I just wanted the public to know that DEA, we are laser focused and working relentless is trying to stop and curb the epidemic on drug poisoning.
More than 100 locations took part in National Drug Take-Back Day here in Arkansas yesterday. We went to one of those locations in Benton, where more than 560 pounds of medication was collected there alone. If you missed the event and have some medication you want to drop off, the department is still allowing you to come by. A few years ago, we saw a push to take down some Confederate symbols in public places, and now a new report is shedding light on where that stands today. The Whose Heritage report from the Southern Poverty Law Center found more than 2,000 Confederate symbols remain in public areas across the country, more than 60 of those here in Arkansas. While the Southern Poverty Law Center wants to see them removed, others believe they should be preserved.
Symbol honoring an organization that literally made war against the United States for the purpose of defending slavery. To have that in front of a courthouse as the name of a school, a public school, is completely inappropriate.
All our history needs to be on display, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It needs to be preserved, it needs to be protected, and we need to learn from our history.
According to researchers, at least 9 Confederate monuments have been removed in the state since 2021. A debate that can draw out strong emotions comes to a head tomorrow in Sherwood as the city council is set to vote on ending a pit bull ban. The dog breed has been banned there for years, but a group of pet owners defending pit bulls are looking to change that. The dangers of out-of-control dogs are well documented, but supporters of pit bulls say owners are usually to blame, not the dog itself.
There are so many breeds other than the pit bull that can be vicious, that can cause harm, that have higher jaw strength than the pit bull does, and unfortunately they get a bad rap.
These dogs can do this and rip a family apart, and it doesn't just hurt our family, it hurts the other family too.
Members of the Taylor Johnson family spoke to us after losing their son Robbie in an attack by 2 pit bulls in 2020. They moved to Sherwood because of the ban. The city council meeting is set at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and members of the public can speak before the vote. April is Autism Awareness Month, and a program deemed by many as the best treatment solution has a waiting list. It's called the Arkansas Autism Waiver Program through the Arkansas Department of Human Services. It provides aggressive in-home therapy for children with severe autism. There's a 6-month waiting list that could be improved through legislation, and one state rep's daughter is on the spectrum. He says there are 2 legislative options. One is asking the DHS to expand the waiver program.
Another thing we could look at doing is trying to, mandate the DHS expands their coverage of kids in traditional Medicaid, right? Not on the waiver, and try to expand the therapy that's available to those kids to meet what's done in the waiver.
The Arkansas Department of Human Services tells us it is not working to expand the waiver program to add any slot for the time being. The results of a new CBS News poll are in, measuring the public's assessment of President Trump's job performance 100 days into his new term. The survey, conducted last week, sampled 2,356 adults. Here's CBS's Christian Benavidez with the results.
100 days into office, President Trump is facing diminishing approval ratings, particularly when it comes to the economy. A new CBS News poll conducted with YouGov found 53% of those surveyed believe the economy is getting worse under President Trump, and 48% say they're faring worse financially under the president's economic policies. 69% of those polled say the president is concentrating too little on lowering prices, and 62% say he's focusing too much on tariffs. On Face the Nation Sunday morning, Gary Cohen, IBM vice chairman, weighed in on recession concerns.
So we're in this part of the economy where there's this lack of predictability, there's uncertainty, and the consumer's acting that way by sort of withdrawing from the market.
Overall, the CBS News poll found 45% of those surveyed approve of the overall job the president is doing, down from 53% in early February. In terms of immigration policies, 56% of those surveyed say they approve. But 81% of respondents say it's not acceptable if a legal U.S. resident is mistakenly deported. On Sunday, the president defended his deportation measures, which have been coming under fire in recent weeks.
I ran on a campaign of taking criminals out of our country, murderers, drug dealers. I won on the fact that we're going to be doing this. We have to be allowed to do it. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country any longer.
The president also shared details Sunday about his weekend meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
He was very, look, he wants to do something good for his country. Thinks he's doing a good job, and he's working hard. We'll see what happens. It's a very complicated deal.
Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
The president is expected to continue to focus on Russia and Ukraine this week in the wake of his weekend discussions with President Zelensky.
If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple. President Trump will not kick the can down the road anymore.
For more than 4 years, federal student loans, even those in default, have not been sent to the collections agents, but that's about to change. The Trump administration says the collection process will restart May 5th, and the Department of Education says more than 5 million borrowers are already in default. So if you are a student loan borrower, there's a few things you should do. First, visit studentaid.gov to check if you're in default.
Just because you're on a $0 payment, because you're on a forbearance, doesn't mean that you're in default. Get on an income-based plan, and if they're like a lower to moderate income earner, they may have a monthly payment where they're at a $0 payment, but still be in good standing and in repayment.
There are 2 options to get out of default that you can enroll in before May 5th. One, loan rehabilitation, which is making 9 on-time monthly payments within a 10-month period. The other, loan consolidation. Then you can find a repayment plan that works for you.
A few record highs across central Arkansas will be in danger tomorrow, and then beyond tomorrow, we have an active weather pattern settling up. All the details on the week ahead are coming up right after this break in your 11-day outlook.